He's not gonna eat your father.
How's the tail holding up?
If you've seen all 3 How to Train Your Dragon movies, then you've probably already figured out how to train dragons. We've watched them grow up and also watched them make it out on their own. How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World was a really good watch, so we bet you were probably too lost in this dragon and Viking universe to catch these details. Like always, we paid close attention and caught everything, so you didn't have to. So without any further delay, let's get started.
You always win.
You knew what you were getting into.
Right.
The Universal Pictures release.
I was just getting started.
Clear out, guys! Go! Go!
If you aren't one to pay attention to the opening credits, then you probably haven't noticed that the How to Train Your Dragon movie has always been developed by DreamWorks Animation. But there's kind of a twist. Each movie has a unique situation because it gets released by a different movie studio each time. The first movie was released by Paramount, while the second was released by 20th Century Fox. For the third movie, The Hidden World was released by Universal Pictures. This kind of explains why there are always huge delays with the release of How to Train Your Dragon movies. But what really makes the third movie stand out is that its title ditched the 3 and replaced it with a subtitle, which is The Hidden World. Maybe they were trying to set the record for the longest title for an animated movie. What do you think? Would you have preferred the title How to Train Your Dragon 3?
With you wearing the pants, there's still hope.
Wow! Not awkward at all.
Light Fury.
What's the report?
2 more trapper barges spotted in the strait.
So we go after them.
In this movie, we get thrown into the vast hidden world again. We also got to meet Light Fury, a white-skinned and female version of Night Fury. Well, at first glance, she looks an awful lot like Night Fury. We mean almost like a clone, but with a different color of eyes and less ears. But that's not actually the only difference. If you pay close attention, you will see that the design and movements of Light Fury are based on some real-life animals. For one, we couldn't help but notice that her design was based off of the snow leopard, which is elusive in nature and can be found in many parts of Asia. For the head shape and specific walking movements, additional inspiration was most likely drawn from the odd-looking walking fish known as the axolotl.
Of a secret land at the edge of the world where dragons live totally out of reach.
Bye-bye, Butterfree.
That's just sad and weird.
Yeah, you better do something.
Seriously?
If some plot points of How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World started to feel very familiar, then you're most likely a huge Pokemon fan. You see, this movie has striking similarities to the 21st episode of the first season of Pokemon, which is titled Bye Bye Butterfree. The plot is the same in so many ways. Ash has spent a long time training and watching Butterfree grow. Then Butterfree meets a similar Butterfree, but one which has a pink color scheme. Then Team Rocket attempts to capture the female Butterfree so it can also trap Ash's version and kill them both. All of this, and then the episode ends on a bittersweet note as Butterfree is released into the wild to be with his true love. That's about the plot of How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World.
Place is very nice, but it's not the hidden world.
The Bewilderbeast.
Oh, someone hasn't slept.
Yeah, well, that Light Fury won't let me within a mile of her.
Remember the Bewilderbeast from the second How to Train Your Dragon movie? Of course you do. It was one of the main antagonists in the movie. Eventually, the Bewilderbeast lost its control and power when Toothless took over and reigned supreme as the Dragon Alpha. Ever wondered what happened to the Bewilderbeast? Well, if you paid close attention to this hidden world scene, you'll find it in the background, hanging out with the other dragons. Who knows, maybe without Drago's influence and control, it is probably able to get along better with other dragons and live peacefully with them in this world.
Is the great dragon master, the son of Stoic the Vast.
Grimmel the Grizzly.
Night Furies can't survive in the cold, so they haven't gone north. They're trying to put distance between themselves and enemies to the east and south.
Grimmel served as the big bad antagonist in the third movie, but it wasn't always intended this way. The early drafts of the script suggest that Drago returned and had an ultimate showdown with Hiccup. This script actually went pretty far into pre-production, but for some reason the story never panned out and Drago was dropped completely. If we were to guess, we would say that Drago's return and all-around presence in the third movie would have made it too similar to the second movie.
Go on, bud. Lead them to the hidden world. You'll be safe there.
The Automatic Tail.
I was so busy fighting for a world that I wanted. I didn't think about what you...
Now that Toothless has a lady dragon, Hiccup finds himself playing the third wheel, no thanks to the unique rider and dragon relationship between Toothless and him. Because of this, Hiccup had to come with a solution. You probably didn't pick up on this one, but this automatic tail that allows Toothless to go off on his own had been done previously in the Dragon Holiday Special, Gift of the Night Fury. Well, the only difference is that a potential soulmate wasn't involved, and Toothless had actually denied the new present. Similarly, if you missed this detail, you definitely missed when ASTRID references Hiccup's first attempt of giving Toothless an automatic tail. This was a pretty cool callback because this original trilogy barely makes any references to the events in the Dragon TV shows. Obviously, without the ability to head over to the local craft store, Hiccup had to be resourceful. When it comes to crafting and creating various items, you just have to give them to these guys. It's a pretty quick scene. But if you pay close attention, you'd see that Hiccup was able to create the automatic tail by simply simply crushing some of the Night Fury's scales and mixing them with his dragon saliva. Pretty crafty, wouldn't you say?
Become unstoppable? To rule the world?
The drawing.
The Alpha. Now we have a fight.
You would agree with us that this was one of the most wholesome moments in this movie. We are talking about the scene where Toothless uses a stick to draw Light Fury while trying to bond with her. We couldn't help but realize that this scene looks like a reference to the first movie where Hiccup does the same thing with Toothless. It was so heartwarming to see Toothless use the same bonding technique because this meant that he actually remembered his moment with Hiccup from so long ago.
The world believes the dragons are gone, if they ever existed at all.
The lost focus of the movie. Yes, we think the filmmakers lost it at some point. You see, while watching the movie, you get the sense that everything is building up to Hiccup finally being able to let go of dragons and maybe even defend his village without relying on the help of the dragons. But in the end, this was not the case. In order to defeat Grimmel, Hiccup once again enlists the help of the dragons, which makes us wonder what was the reason for the entire buildup if he wasn't still able to go do it all on his own.
The chief has come home!
The running time.
But those who stopped them? Oh, even more so.
Everybody knows that the majority of animated films are pretty fast and tend to get to the point quickly. This is not necessarily bad because it is difficult to get impatient kids to go through a movie in one sitting. For this reason, shorter films tend to work best as anything over 90 minutes is really pushing it. For the third movie, we could not help but notice that DreamWorks gave a lot of room for the viewers to breathe. This movie clocks in at 104 minutes, which is notably the longest runtime for a DreamWorks animated movie ever. And we have to say we loved all the extra time. It allowed for some wholesome moments and some epic battles.
Why are you doing this?
Really? I didn't think you cared.
GRIMME'Ls' source of power.
Guess we won't be needing this then, huh?
I led us right into his trap.
Yeah, nice work, Chief. Right, Ruff?
Wait,
The main source of GRIMME'Ls' power is by using the venom of a Death Gripper dragon to put the humans to sleep. Yes, this makes a lot of sense, and it is definitely very useful to the villain. You know what doesn't make any sense though? How can this venom be used against the Death Gripper themselves? At some point in the movie, you would see Grimmel use the Death Gripper's venom against them by effectively putting them to sleep and having full control of them. But that's not all. Not only does the venom affect dragons, but it also works as a way to mind control the dragons. Makes us wonder what the explanation behind all of it. None. There's no explanation for why this venom is all powerful. Well, when you consider how the power is used to control Light Fury to get Toothless, it does present Grimmel as a force to be reckoned with.
See? I told you it was in here.
still doing that one.
Hiccup and Astrid.
Welcome aboard, Dragon Rider. Thanks. I think.
Where have you been?
Oh, you know.
There was a whole lot packed into the last 5 minutes of How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. We mean, not only did Hiccup get married, but he and Astrid also had 2 kids. This wasn't hard to pick up on, but you probably didn't realize how, let's just say, blended the family really is.